While we're talking about these kind of changes that can come up, what are some of the trickier parts of what are the exceptions? What are the trickier parts to get right about this when it's not just we're the team's sprinting along and doing great and knocking out the backlog. Like what are some of the curveballs?
Almost all the curveballs, not all of them, but I would say almost all of them deal with third-party dependencies, whether it be third party that we're using to integrate with, kind of in the example that you just gave, or a hardware vendor, or some kind of manufacturer of a wearable or whatever. When it becomes a third-party dependency, the only thing we can do is really one, as we're looking down the backlog, we talk about how we're working on, the most important features first, but we also have to look further out and say, okay, what are the things that we're going to need to be working on that could become blockers and maybe have dependencies where we can't completely control it? How do we lay the groundwork ahead of time to make sure that that partner, the customer, whomever, is kind of doing the prep work to make sure that when the team gets there, we're able to keep moving. So we do try to neutralize some of that by, kind of looking out ahead. Not too far, right? We don't want to do things that are unnecessary, but we're trying to look ahead and say, okay, where are the snags that could be coming up on the road ahead? How can we try to mitigate those by doing some prep work, or alerting a customer that hey, we need you to do this by this date, or a vendor that trying to do some of the prep work. So that's where it gets a little bit sloppy at times, and it's not sloppy, but it's not exactly perfectly all the highest priority features at the top, right? Because we do have to kind of look down and also make sure that we're able to keep moving smoothly. But I would say third-party dependencies definitely are the hardest part, because we don't really have control.
Right.
We can try to do the prep work, and we can make sure that everybody's on the same page. And when those snags happen, we can adapt. We can find other areas in the product if it's, let's say, one of the major features involves an integration and we're totally blocked on that and just can't do anything. There's always other parts of the product that we can build. That just might mean we're deviating a little bit from, the notion of building the most important, highest risk.
The pure priority.
Yeah. Right. And that's a conversation we would have with the customer to make sure that they understand the trade-off. And I think in, small doses, that's totally fine, normal, happens all the time. The risk is when that starts to become a prolonged, protracted problem. And you just have to, kind of weigh what the risks are and make sure that we're communicating well along the way.
Yeah, earlier in the conversation, you said something that I think is key. So when you have this product backlog, you have high-level features or epics, you only get into the details on the ones that are on the top of the list. And one of the reasons that we do that, and you alluded to this earlier, is because all this stuff at the bottom of the backlog can change. that can all be influenced. So don't spend your time working through all the details of stuff that could change anyway, could get deprioritized, so that's a way that this works for overall efficiency, I think.
Yeah.
And flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we can't just say we're not going to worry about those things at all, because we do need to know enough about them to be able to say we think it's going to cost about this much to do this type of functionality, or here's where it fits into the product, or here's where it solves the user need in certain areas. So we do have to pay attention to it. We try to make sure that we're not going deeper than we need to at any point in time, to your point, because something could change.
Right.
And then all that work that we've done goes out the window anyway. So, yeah.